So I've got the lab coat on again, so it's going to be another possibly, potentially messy lesson. Hopefully it won't be if the students are careful with this. And this is our mystery powders lesson, another really fun one for students. They are going to be forensic scientists today trying to solve the Mansfield murder mystery. And just as always, the PowerPoint, which will be really important for this lesson actually, it goes through the suspects in the crime and the case a little bit and tells students what they're trying to accomplish. And this is again going to be an extension of our last lesson, the difference between a chemical and a physical change. And it's going to focus in on that state standard 8.2.3, identify and describe the particulate nature of matter, including physical and chemical interactions. And so what students will do after we kind of just go over a little review of chemical and physical changes, students are going to be working with another person in a team of 2 to solve this crime. And basically the crime involves these mystery powders. And so we'll start off by giving students 4 known powders, A, B, C, and D. And these powders represent dandruff collected from the 4 suspects: Mr. Mansfield, Grandma Mansfield, the daughter Susie Mansfield, and the son Dudley Mansfield. Right? And the students are going to be analyzing these powders and recording that information on a data sheet, also below this video, and they're going to record all their observations of these different powders. First of all, just what do they look like, and then as they add different liquids, water, vinegar, and iodine. How do each of these powders react with those different liquids? Is there a chemical change? Is it just a physical change? How would you describe the texture after you add these different liquids? So they need to make really good observations and collect really good data. And after they've done that, after they've tested each of these different powders, then they're going to test the 2 mystery powders. And these are the powders that were collected at the scene of the crime. So this is a mixture. Each of these powders is a mixture of 2 of these other powders. So one of them has, let's say, Mr. Mansfield and Grandma Mansfield dandruff mixed into it. And the other one might have Grandma Mansfield's dandruff and Susie's dandruff. And the story basically goes that these powders were collected from areas in the house where the suspects claim to have been during the time of the murder. And so, although it's a little bit of a stretch, we are going to look for, right, the persons whose powder, whose dandruff is missing, all right, from these mystery mixtures. So there's 3 of the 4 powders represented in these 2 mystery mixtures, and there's one that is not. And the one that is not is going to be our murderer. And that's where kids get a little confused sometimes. So if you could help them to understand that, that would be great. They're looking for the powder that is not found in either one of the 2 mystery mixtures. Okay, so I'm going to change the camera angle and just show you the setup here, what students are going to have to work with. Okay, so each student or group of students is going to have an 18-egg styrofoam egg carton, and that's just going to work out just perfectly for the number of powders we have to test. And what I like students to do is on their worksheet actually just line up their egg cartons with these columns on the sheet. So this would be column A, Mr. Mansfield, column B, Grandma, column C, Susie, column D, Dudley, and then that leaves 2 for mystery powder 1 and mystery powder 2. Now the worksheet explains what the students are doing again, and then you'll just need to have these containers of the powders in kind of a central location. And I don't want the students to take the mystery powders until they've tested the other powders. So all they'll need is just a little bit of it. So they're going to put a little bit of A in each one of these first ones. And they'll put a little bit of B, a little bit of Grandma Mansfield's dandruff in each of these second ones. Okay. And then, of course, C and D down the line. And so they'll have all of the mystery powders in these rows here. And then it says observations. So the first thing you need to do is go through and look. If you have magnifying glasses, that'd be a good addition. Have them look. Write down, what do they think this looks like? They might think it looks like salt. That's great. That's a good observation. Okay. Because the powders I used, I think, were cornstarch and baking soda and salt and sugar. Okay, and so they might think that they look like those things, and that'd be good observations. Now the first liquid it says to add is water, and so the kids are just going to take a pipette and they're going to add, water to this one, water here, water here, water here to the 4, and then take a toothpick and kind of stir it around. All right, what does it look like? Oh, it gets kind of hard, almost forms a liquidy, solid type thing. This one just, I don't know. Maybe it dissolves more than A, and then mix around, and have them make their observations, write down their observations. After the water, then they're going to add iodine. And iodine, of course, will stain their clothes, so they need to be a little careful. Okay, a couple of drops is all they need. You can get iodine at any pharmacy or Walmart or whatever. Add iodine to each one. Again, mix it around. Okay, what do you notice? What happens? All right, so in this one, you're going to get, it's really turning a dark black. Right, in this one it turns kind of more of a lightish red color. All right, and down the line, making their observations. And then finally they'll add vinegar with a pipette to the last one. Okay, and there should be different pipettes in each of these. And so a little vinegar with pipette to this one, to this one. Okay, there. Obviously we've got a chemical reaction happening there, not just a physical change. Okay, and so they'll go down, they'll make all of those observations, and then they're going to add their mystery powders. So here comes mystery powder 1, 1, 1, and then 2, 2, 2, and the same thing. Add water to both, make observations, then add water to both of them, iodine to both of them, vinegar to both of them, and then they're going to go back, look at their data, look at what they found out with mystery powders, and try to figure out, okay, whose dandruff is missing from these 2 mystery powders. And based on that, they're going to be able then to make their decision about who they think the murderer was. So at the end of the lesson, we'll have everyone make a guess, and you can really play it up and have a lot of fun with them and see who's going to send innocent people to jail and who's not. Who actually gets the right person. And normally I make it either Dudley or Susie because their powders are salt and sugar. And then we can talk about even a little bit of genetics. Well, as offspring, as siblings, they're going to have more similar DNA maybe than Grandma Mansfield had, okay, compared to Susie maybe. So Susie and Dudley have similar DNA, and it makes it a little harder for the students to narrow down. And again, we'll just end with another, just a reminder of the difference between a chemical and a physical change, and that'll be it for the week. Extensions to this one are, of course, try to set up other types of forensics activities, have students try to analyze blood spatter, or have students try to figure out, a breaking and entering case based on the type of, maybe the type of mark left on a door jamb, trying to make that same mark with different tools. That'd be a really good forensics extension. And the chemical physical change extension, again, think back to last week of the extensions I told you about. Lots of different activities, lots of different experiments you can do to look for differences between chemical and physical changes. All of them a lot of fun, and kids really like chemical physical changes, especially when there's some smoke and fire involved, if you can have it happen. So again, this one's a lot of fun, and this will kind of end our chemistry unit together, and from here we'll move on to more of a physics focus. So we'll see you next time.